Is this the best 6-inch Darth Vader out on the market right now? Let's find out. My criteria for a good Vader are as follows. Has to be big and imposing. Good looking helmet design, but not really fussed which movie or series it comes from, as long as it's mean and scary, not like a sad looking walrus. Needs to have a nice cape that drapes like it has some weight over the shoulders and doesn't float like most Black Series capes do. Hands, hands, and more hands. Vader doesn't have a face and does most of his emoting through his hands. A good range of articulation, nothing too crazy, but can hold his lightsaber with both hands. This is a big, chunky Darth Vader, tall and imposing compared to the other figures, as he should be. Great sculpt. I love the helmet design. This isn't your sad walrus looking helmet. Proportions of the helmet is a good balance to the mask, not too short, not too long. The upper half of the helmet matches the bottom half of the mask. I love the reddish maroon lenses, really pops behind all that black, very photogenic, especially in the right light. The cape is wide for all your action posing needs, but drapes like a heavy cape should. A good weight that doesn't float around or look like a bit of plastic. The cape unfortunately isn't attached to the figure itself, but the helmet sits in a way that the cape stays down when you pose it. It's not the ideal way to hold it down, but still offers some friction to hold it in place. Still, would have liked the cape to be permanently or at least securely attached to the figure. Here is the cape fully spread. That's a lot of material, but I like to bunch it together like this to give it some depth and to make it more manageable. Finally, cloth robes for an import figure that aren't just bunched up together but fold together nicely. No more traffic cone syndrome like its predecessor or the Mafex version. And as a bonus, the robes are wired. Didn't think I would ever need wired robes, but here we are. Love how dynamic you can pose Vader around. I love the battle damage head and chest box, so much detail under the mask, and the resemblance is on point. Kinda makes me wish that it came with a full Anakin head sculpt, but this gives us the option of having a battle damage and non-battle damage Vader. Finally, I love the different uses of matte mixed with glossy blacks for the armor and suit. The leathery parts look like leather, and in a sea of black, there is a nice contrast. Bonus points, they painted the mask silver on the parts where it's supposed to reflect, just like they did in the movies. It's not Star Wars lore accurate, but it is accurate to the film prop Vader mask. Such a cool bit of detail. Things that I don't like. Wish there was a way that you could hide the stitching on the cape and robes. It kind of detracts from the overall aesthetics and illusion of scale. I've never been a fan of the Vader chain, but at least they scaled it down this time to make it look more proportionate to a 6-inch figure. The lightsaber hands unfortunately don't grip the lightsaber tight enough. I wish that they made the hands out of a soft plastic with a tighter grip. That way there's a bit more friction to hold it up. A bit more range in the wrists would have been nice too. The battle damage helmet is spot on in terms of sculpt. It looks phenomenal. Just wish there was more painted detail around the damaged cut area. A bit more silver would have gone a long way. The overall articulation is more than enough for Vader, but the ankle pivot is non-existent. We get no movement whatsoever, which sucks. Any range would have been nice. No QC issues on my copy. Vader's joints are smooth but tight, and the figure has a nice hefty feel to it. Do be careful though around the neck where the cape connects. If it starts to fray, just cut off the extra bits with a sharp scissors. Alright, so let's take a look at Vader's articulation. We're going to start off with the head. So to be honest, there isn't too much range in the head, but he does look side to side. Ooh, cool looking face there. And it does pop out if you do move it too far. But that's as much as he can go side to side. Not much looking up. And pretty much nothing moving down, and we don't... Oh, actually, we do. We get a bit of tilt. For Vader's arms, we do get a very good range for his butterfly joints. That's pretty good far forward. So he can hold his lightsaber with both hands. Arms go out about 90 degrees. You do have 360 there at the shoulder. Let's move the cape out of the way. But yes, 360 there at the shoulders. The shoulder pads here, the shoulder armor here is on a hinge and ball joint. So they do move out of the way. You do have a bicep swivel. Double elbows, very good range. Swivels at the wrist. And you do have hinges, although the torso, we do have a diaphragm cut only at the waist, but that is more than enough. It's a ball joint connecting the torso and the crotch. The belt piece here is a separate piece, but it holds the inner robes together, and the inner robes do move with the waist, so you can get swivel side to side. You do get tilts right and left, so it's pretty good range for Vader. I mean, ab crunch is pretty good. Again, we don't need Vader to do anything crazy, but it's decent enough. For leg articulation, we get a good spread side to side. Almost 90 degrees kicking forward. Double knees, which is pretty good. Doesn't kick back too far. That's as far as we can get. We do have a hidden upper thigh cut. And unfortunately, we don't get too much range with the feet. That's as far as it can go down. Unfortunate there for the feet, but everything else is pretty good. I do like the upper articulation. The legs are probably the weakest part of the articulation, but still more than enough for you to get Vader in some decent poses. For accessories, we get a plenty, including your battle damage final battle head, an in-motion or in-action lightsaber blade, the battle damage chest box, lightsaber hilt with normal blade, hands for his hands-on belt pose, lightsaber hilt when it's off, couple of force hands, a pair of pointing hands, some force choke hands, a pair of open palm hands, and a pair of lightsaber wielding hands. Here is Vader with his battle damage helmet and chest box. Both pieces look fantastic, especially that phenomenal looking head. There's a striking resemblance to Hayden Christensen, and the printing is nicely detailed. Again, I would have liked more painted detail around the damaged areas of the helmet and chest box to bring out all those nice details. So yes, this is the best 6-inch Darth Vader out there in my opinion. Is he perfect? No. And can you argue that the Mafex and Black Series is more accurate? Sure, I won't fight you on that one. And honestly, I'm not an expert on all the changes made to the suit throughout all of his appearances. All I know is that this is a big, don't fuck with me, mean looking Vader, and that's enough for me. The helmet looks great, and the red lenses are the cherry on the top. And we finally have a Vader with the ideal cloth goods setup. Black Series did it first, yes, but the cape and the robes aren't wired and don't drape nearly as nicely as the Figuarts. Which is why I got rid of my Black Series Vaders. Empire Strikes Back was probably the best. Mafex was close, but the inner robes on that new 1.5 version is still that rubbery plastic that just gets in the way of leg movement. We also get a bunch of hands, which is essential to Vader, and a couple of new lightsaber options. Best thing is that you can choose to have a final battle Kenobi Vader or just a regular Vader for your shelf. Yes, it is more than double for what you're paying with a Black Series, but you're essentially getting two figures in one. Either way, more accessories and better articulation. This is it, guys, a 6-inch Hot Toys quality Darth Vader. Again, is it perfect? No, but those imperfections aren't deal breakers and could easily be tweaked. This will be my definitive Vader that stands proudly on my shelf and in my opinion deserves the crown of best 1/12 scale Darth Vader of all time. Thank you always for watching. You guys are the best. Hope you enjoyed the review. Drop us a comment and like, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Yoroshiku.